But no, this dude's fucking hilarious. I love this guy. Please go for Greg Stone, everybody. Come on. Yes.
Chesley, everybody. Keep it going for Chesley. Freak in the Cave spokesperson. Yeah. I don't know. I got a lot of shit going on right now. I got an email at work, and they want to drug test me. But they can't drug test me because I do drugs. So don't do that. But if I got a plan, you have always got a plan, but I got the best, I got a plan, I'm gonna get out of it. This is how you do it, all right? When they say, all right, man, you gotta come to the drug test, and they give you that cup, this is how you get out of it. Take the cup, go in the back, masturbate in the cup. And give it back to them. Here's why. That's just dirty, it's just disgusting. No, there's science behind this. One, their machine isn't calibrated for that, okay? You give that to them, it's gonna break the machine, you're out scot-free. Two, if anytime anyone ever gives you anything, and you return to them a cup full of semen, they will never ask you for anything ever again. You are out of the drug test. You are out of birthdays. You don't have to give Father's Day gifts. You don't have to pay fucking tolls. I heard about you, man. Just go, man. Take the 50 cents. I work at the Apple store now. It's weird. It's the only job I ever had in my life where I've ever had to say the phrase, "No, the other guy with the handlebar mustache." I've never had to say that before. It's like a fucking train. Everyone's hiding from a train robbery in that place. Just don't find the dame on the train tracks. Before I did that, though, I worked in an ER. I worked in an emergency room 5 years, and I quit to do comedy. My job was essentially, it wasn't like, oh, were you a nurse, were you a doctor? No, I had the no college job, which was I just pretty much cleaned people's butts and lifted old people's penises into cups. You see a lot more old man penis than you'd ever think you'd ever, oh God, you don't understand the Vietnam flashbacks I have from that place. But I worked with my boy. I had this guy Moses. He was my boy, and we had this little prank war we had going. And I just pranked him one day. It was so easy. What happened was he was supposed to take this body down to the morgue, and I was like, "Here's how I'm gonna get him. I'll take the body down to the morgue." I take the body down. I go back in the room, lay on the stretcher, and just put a sheet over my head, and I just waited. Just laid down like, is he guy? What are you doing? No, not good. Not good. I just waited for him until he came in the room, and I just went, boo! And he went, the dead! And pushed me off the stretcher. He didn't scream like, oh, Greg, that's you, or hey, you're not supposed to be alive. He went, the dead! Like the dead have risen. They are striking tonight in my hospital. And he ran. Like he just did that serious run. We just went, and just like fucking floored it out of there. Full speed, like flat down. I had to walk out and get him. And I was like, Moses, man, it was me. And he was like, oh yeah, I know, man. All right, cool. I dealt with a lot of like Alzheimer's patients and stuff. There's this lady, I remember her name, it was like Mrs. White. She was in room 20. Room 20 is where we kept all the crazy people. And I didn't really know what to do. I didn't have any formal education in like nursing or anything, but Moses comes up to me one day and he's like, hey man, can you feed the lady in room 20? I gotta go, so he had to like sew a kid up or something. I was like, yeah, don't worry about it, I'll take care of it. And I go in and I read her chart. It turns out that she was aphasic, which means she doesn't talk. Like she was like 98 years old, she doesn't communicate, she's kind of like, you know, just kind of sits there and is like almost like a vegetable in it. It's really, really depressing. So whenever that happens, I always like to talk to them. Like, I'll just talk to them for hours because they have to listen to me. They can't interrupt me, like they're not gonna heckle me. I'm telling them all the ideas I got. I'm telling them about inventions, like the cold stove. It's a stove that makes things colder. It uses cold flames. Its technology's not even invented yet, but she doesn't fucking know that shit. I just tell her about it. What are you gonna say? It's not gonna work? You go, fuck you don't talk. So I'm feeding her, and she, like, I'm feeding her, I'm talking to her, like, I'm telling her about my career, my parents, like, my mom doesn't love me, I don't know. You look like my mom, I don't know. So I'm feeding her, and the thing that she, like, she starts having trouble, like she's not swallowing. So I started freaking out a little bit because there's like a certain patients that have swallowing problems, and you know, when you get older, you can choke, and I couldn't like talk to her, so I freak out. I walk outside and I tell the head nurse, and I'm like, "Hey, she's not swallowing. What should I do? Did I rub this? Did I rub the thing?" And she was like, "No, she's not. Of course, she's not. She's not swallowing. She's dead. She's been dead for 2 hours. We're waiting for the coroner to come. Why are you feeding her?" I was like, "What are you talking about?" And then I see Moses, and he's like, "Got you back, motherfucker!" I'm like, "What? That's your game of one-upsmanship? I pretend to be a dead body, and you put me in a room with a fucking dead body? What's fucked up the coroner gonna say?" The coroner's gonna come in and be like, 800, she passed away. 900, she fed herself? What the fuck is going on in this place? So fucked up. That's some fucked up shit, man. Don't trust doctors, man. People always ask me about the hospital. They always go, like, here's the thing. People stick things in their body a lot. Women and men tend to do it at about 4 o'clock in the morning. And I always tell people that, and they always go, like, what's the craziest thing you've ever seen? And it's like, that's all pretty crazy. I mean, I think a guy came in with a trumpet up his ass, like, "Hey, just get this thing out of my ass, just get this thing out of my ass, I need it." "What are you doing?" I'm tuning it. Like, just get him out of here. Don't call my wife, just get me out of here. But the craziest thing I ever saw, true story, lady came in 4 o'clock in the morning with a light bulb stuck in her vagine, her vajayjay, and her pussy, dude. Straight up pussy, man. We pussy patrol. You know me. I got your style, man. I got your number, pussy man. Real pussy. Me and the pussy man. That's the unwritten part of the joke. I don't know. But she comes in. She has a light bulb. She had to suck a light bulb in her vagina, and the doctor comes in, and he's like, you know, "Well, you got to get this thing out of here." And they're like, "You got to do an X-ray," and you know, I did all the shit jobs, so I take him the X-ray. We have the X-ray done. I bring it back, and there's 2 doctors arguing: the head of the fucking emergency room and the head of the OR, the operating room, and they're arguing. And the ER doctor's like, "You gotta take her upstairs and get her out." And the OR doctor's like, "She doesn't have insurance. You can do this down here. Like, don't like just." They're just fighting and fighting. And for some reason, they both look at me and go, "What do you think?" To me. I had no idea what to say, so I said what any comedian would do. I just said, "I don't have any idea, but if that vagina doesn't look like it has the greatest idea, hey, what do you know?" Boom! Shake the room. I fucking moonwalked out of there, my tie spun around. I was like, I'm dancing. Who are you? You're a doctor. I've got a high school degree. Go fuck yourself. So dumb shit. Oh, man. What else? This is a good one. This is classic Greg Stone you're about to see right here, guys. Buckle in. The first time I didn't drink till I was 25 years old. You know, straight edge was a whole thing. I was into hardcore music. I'm as straight as the line that you sniff up your nose. Like, I was really into it. And then I drank, and then my life went in the toilet. But the first time I ever drank, I was dating this girl, Carrie. Her name was Carrie. I didn't really need to bring up her name, but if you see her, we had good times. I'm just kidding. Anyway, but it was Carrie, and she was a buyer for Toys R Us, so she like pretty much was a high up at Toys R Us, and we went to this. It was a gala event at the Marriott. It was hosted by Rosie O'Donnell. The New York Giants were there. I had to wear a tie. It was like a black tie event. We had like get tuxedos and shit. Key part of the story: there was no security. Just gonna need to know that for later. So I'm there with her, and she says, "Why don't you have a drink?" It's like, "You're 25, who gives a shit? I'm here. Like, worst case, we're gonna get in a limo home. Like, just get drunk, who gives a shit?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll have one. I'll have a Malibu Bay Breeze." I order 1 Malibu Bay Breeze. Next thing I remember is literally waking up the next morning to Carrie standing at the edge of the bed going, "What do you remember about last night?" And I said, "I don't know, something about Cabbage Patch Kids." She goes, "Yes, every table got 1 limited edition Cabbage Patch Kid. You have 6. I was like, "Oh God, what else happened? And she pulls out 1 hour photos that she had fucking developed when I was sleeping. And she looks at me and she says, "What do you know about Michael Bolton?" And I said, "I don't know anything about Michael Bolton." And she said, "You're a liar, you know his entire catalog." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" She goes, and she starts showing me pictures. And I'm like, "What happened?" She goes, "You were passed out drunk. Your head was on the table. You were done." I was like, "He's done. I'll carry him home. We had a good time. Who gives a shit?" Until Rosie O'Donnell gets on stage and says, "Ladies and gentlemen, your musical guest, Michael Bolton." In which case, you sprung to your feet. You looked me dead in the eyes and said, "I have to do this." You then sprinted through the entire defensive line of the New York Giants like a hot eel through seaweed. Jumped on stage and sang every word to "When a Man Loves a Woman" with Michael Bolton, cheek to cheek, on stage. I was like, "You're kidding me." And she was like, "Yeah." I was like, "What about, did anyone care?" And she was like, "No, it was awesome. They don't expect retards to fucking run on stage at these events. People were just into it, so they were singing." And I was like, "What was on?" She was like, "You were doing the face-to-face, then you were doing the cheek-to-cheek, you were playing air guitar over his real guitar." It was a fucking awesome event. Until she shows me this picture, which is Michael Bolton going like this. And I was like, "What happened here?" This is when you wrestled the microphone out of his hand. Like did it over, under, then pulled it out of his hand, screamed to the audience, "Rock me hard and fast! Rod Stewart!" And called Michael Bolton Rod Stewart to his face. I was like, "Oh my God, how did he take it?" She said, "He didn't seem to give a shit. He just kept playing." And that's when I learned that even Michael Bolton knows that Michael Bolton is Rod Stewart. Anyway, thanks a lot, guys. I'm Greg Stone.
Greg Stone, everybody, come on! That was awesome.